Title: The Last Meal at Maple Lane. At the very end of Maple Lane, where the street lights flickered like dying stars, lived a woman named Edna Whiskers. Edna was known to the townsfolk as the Crazy Cat Lady, a title she wore like a badge of honor. Her home, a dilapidated Victorian house, was overrun with cats, dozens of them, each with a name and a peculiar personality. The townspeople whispered about her, their voices hushed and filled with a mix of fear and curiosity. Edna had a peculiar habit that set her apart from the other eccentricities of the town. She fed her cats not just the usual kibble or fish, but something far more sinister. It was said that she had a secret recipe, one that required fresh ingredients, and the townsfolk often wondered where she sourced them. One chilly autumn evening, a group of teenagers, Milo, Jenna, and Tom, decided to test the rumors. They had heard tales of Edna's strange culinary practices and were determined to uncover the truth. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they crept down Maple Lane, their hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and dread. As they approached Edna's house, the air grew thick with an unsettling silence. The moon cast eerie shadows on the ground, and the faint sound of meowing echoed from within. The trio exchanged nervous glances, but pressed on, driven by a mix of curiosity and the thrill of the unknown. They reached the rickety wooden door, which creaked ominously as they pushed it open. Inside, the house was a chaotic blend of cat toys, scratching posts, and an overwhelming stench of something rotten. The walls were adorned with framed pictures of Edna and her beloved cats, their eyes glinting in the dim light like tiny, watchful orbs. "Let's find the kitchen," Milo whispered, his voice barely above a breath. They tiptoed through the clutter, careful not to disturb the slumbering felines that sprawled across every surface. In the kitchen, they found a large pot simmering on the stove, the contents bubbling ominously. The aroma was a strange mix of spices and something metallic. Jenna leaned closer, her curiosity piqued. "What do you think she's cooking?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Probably just cat food," Tom replied, though he didn't sound convinced. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the living room, followed by a chorus of frantic meows. The trio jumped, their hearts racing. "What was that?" Milo exclaimed, his bravado fading. "Let's check it out," Jenna suggested, though her voice quivered with fear. They moved cautiously toward the living room, where they found Edna standing amidst a sea of scattered cat food cans, her wild hair framing her face like a dark halo. "Ah, visitors," she exclaimed, her eyes gleaming with a manic light. "You've come just in time for dinner." Before they could respond, Edna gestured toward the pot on the stove. "I've prepared a special feast for my darlings. You must try it." The teenagers exchanged horrified glances. "Oh, we're not really hungry," Tom stammered, backing away slowly. "Nonsense," Edna insisted, her voice rising with excitement. "It's made with the freshest ingredients. You'll love it." As she approached them, the cats began to gather around her, their eyes glowing in the dim light. The atmosphere shifted, and the air grew heavy with an unshakable sense of dread. "Fresh ingredients," Milo echoed, his voice barely a whisper. "What do you mean by that?" Edna's smile widened, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp for a human. "Oh, you know. The best meals come from the heart. And sometimes from the neighbors who don't appreciate my little friends." The realization hit them like a cold wave. The missing townsfolk, the strange disappearances. Edna was not just a cat lady, she was a predator, and her cats were her accomplices. "Run!" Jenna screamed, and the trio bolted for the door, their hearts pounding in their chests. Behind them, Edna's laughter echoed, mingling with the cacophony of meows as her cats surged forward, blocking their escape. As they stumbled through the house, the wall seemed to close in, the shadows stretching and twisting as if alive. They could hear Edna's voice, sweet and sinister, calling out to her feline companions. Dinner is served. With a final burst of adrenaline, they burst through the front door and sprinted down Maple Lane, the chilling laughter of Edna Whiskers fading into the night. They didn't stop running until they reached the safety of the town square, gasping for breath and filled with a terror that would haunt them forever. From that day on, the legend of Edna Whiskers grew, a tale of horror that echoed through the streets of Maple Lane. The townsfolk learned to keep their distance, leaving her to her cats and her dark culinary secrets, while the trio vowed never to speak of that night again. But deep down, they knew the truth. In the heart of the town, at the end of Maple Lane, a crazy cat lady was feeding her cats more than just kibble. She was feeding them the very essence of fear.